Yay. Hi. Hi. Welcome to the Shamans Tea. Here we are. I am Star Shantir and so grateful to be here. Hi, I'm Mia.
Hi, darling. Hi, everybody out there in the netherworlds, in the, interesting, netherworlds.
In the beautiful ethers of life. How's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? How's everybody coping? Hey, guys, thank you for all of that beautiful, gorgeous feedback that we got from our last Shamans Tea and your questions. And oh my gosh, it was just really beautiful about our, grandmother medicine, ayahuasca. It was really beautiful that we were able to reach so many people, and so much so that here we are going to continue the love. Going to continue the love and finish, or not maybe even finish, but continue the beautiful sacred dialogue about ayahuasca. Yeah.
And there is so much more. And I think that everybody could hear last week your deep, deep love for grandmother. It was so beautiful to hear you get so deeply passionate about something that you really have decided to devote your whole life to, right?
I am a devotee. And it's true. I'm super passionate about the medicine. I'm super passionate, Mia, about, wow, I get emotional thinking about this, like the transformation that I get to witness as a facilitator. That's what fires me up, to be able to help guide people back home to the heart. It's so beautiful. Yeah. And so, yeah, I get fired up about it. That's for sure. So as we continue this dialogue, Mia and I, we open up sacred space before we actually hit the record button, but just want you to know that we are in a safe and sacred container, and that these messages are for you, for the highest good of humanity, and that we just hold you in that safe container and in that heart space. So yeah, blessings, and thanking Great Spirit and all these beautiful plant spirits, and yeah, we're just so grateful, so grateful for it all.
So one of the things that I wanted to talk a little bit about is when you fly into Peru and you're an ayahuasca tourist, you're very likely to show up maybe on the day of the ceremony and meet your shaman for the first time. And I want to talk a little bit about this sacred container that we are creating, and there's a fair amount of preparation before we even put down money probably to do a ceremony in this country with you. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, the preparation, yeah, well, that gets into a lot of detail about the dieta itself. So
Now, before you go any further, can you explain to people what you mean by dieta?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we talk about dieta, we talk about that preparation. A lot of times, Mia, people think about the dieta as the food that they cannot, most of the time we look at it from the negative, the food that we cannot ingest, the meds that we have to, let go of because there's certain contraindications that say, no, you can't take this. And so with this preparation, sometimes like if you are on any SSRIs, any MAOI inhibitors, antidepressants, things of this nature, you cannot ingest the medicine. So that prep would be, if you really feel that calling, that the medicine is, I really need to step into this medicine, then that prep goes, hey, you're working with your physician to start weaning you off of these meds, off of these supplements, even like St. John's wort, or the, what's the other one? 5 no, whatever the supplement is, I can't remember it right now, but that helps, to raise the serotonin levels, because ayahuasca, the Banisteriopsis, has the MAOI in it. And so what we want to make sure of is that you're not having a serotonin overload. So there really are some very serious contraindications. And what I mean by that is no bueno medicines that you can take with this medicine. And so that prep looks like, okay, I'm going to start weaning myself off of these meds. And what's the right way to do that? So some of that prep is letting go of supplements and letting go of medications so that you can step into your personal journey. But Dieta is not just about that, guys. Dieta is an amazing experience. And, Mia, when I'm working with folks and coming into the medicine, there's a very long intake form. I want to know everything about you, your supplements, your meds, what your trauma has been in the past. Who are you? And why are you coming to the medicine? Why are you really being called? I want to know how I can be of deep service for you. And so that's part of the prep, is filling out all of that intake form, so that I can make sure, A, that you're safe and that you're okay to do this, and B, how can I be supportive as you are going in. Once that is approved, so to speak, your form has been filled out, I go over it, and that has got the okay on it, the stamp of approval. Then what we do is we set you up for what I call that pre-consultation. And that pre-consultation is going into the weeds and really getting to know you, getting to know how I can support you, answering all of those serious questions, and then setting you up for your dieta. And generally, depending upon what's going on with you, that dieta can start, what I would say, that's slow roll in. Okay, we're going to start taking you off caffeine 2 weeks before. And by the time we hit 7 days before we're sitting in the medicine, you are sitting in hardcore dieta. So that means no fat, no sugar, no salt, definitely no pork, no red meat, no caffeine, no alcohol, no sex, no masturbation. So why do we do that, right? Why are we doing that? And so what happens is I generally give a what I like to call a dieta Zoom call, where everybody who's going to sit in ceremony comes together, and I talk more about the philosophy. What is the philosophy of this? It's not to, so grandma can be so strict with you or whatever, to really, no, it's so that you can start the dialogue with the grandmother before you even come into ceremony, and that you can be clean and clear so that that dialogue can be obtainable, so that you can actually hear and have the dialogue. So we'd set your date. Okay, you're gonna start your dieta, hardcore, parkour, or slow roll, whichever one we decide, based on what your specific needs are. That you're gonna sit down on this date, X date, in a meditation. You're gonna open up your dieta and you're gonna say, hey, grandma, I am coming into the medicine and I want to work with you. And here is what my intention is.
Mhm.
My intention is I want to clear this trauma. I want to look at the DNA and get rid of the ancestral, or bring in ancestral honoring, whatever it is that your personal intention is. And then of course with every ceremony, right now is the all love, gathering. So hopefully that would be, part of the intention, that I want to, rise up to my fifth dimension self. I want to embody pure bliss love, so you'd set your intention and you would let her know. And you are going to say, I'm going to open up my dieta on X day, and I'm going to be in dieta until, X day. And, I really want to communicate with you. So the dieta philosophy for me is more about the relationship with the plant medicines. It's how to open you, not only from a safety aspect, but from the aspect of that you get to establish a relationship with these beautiful plant medicines. And that I think is the most important, because, for me, and oftentimes in the jungle, they won't say, we won't talk about, oh, I've drank ayahuasca, over 100 times, or I've sat in, a 1,000 ceremonies, or whatever egoic thing it is. But it's more about how many dietas you've had, and these dietas become your allies. These dietas become the lessons and the blessings that you receive the moment that you open up your dieta to the time that you close it. So that closing is generally, the typical closing is however many days you've been in ceremony drinking the medicine, +2. So for us, we're in the medicine for, 3 nights. So +2. So we have a post dieta once we leave ceremony on a Monday afternoon. Friday, the next Friday, is when you're going to close your dieta. And that closing is a great honoring, it's a beautiful, beautiful experience. So dieta can be a little bit challenging, but that's the beautiful part. What is it like, for instance, when we let go of caffeine? Now, I know a bunch of us are, big caffeine drinkers or whatever, So if you are, that would be one of those things that I would take you on a slow roll into dieta and say, start weaning yourself back out of caffeine, because the last thing you want to do is be sitting in ceremony with a detox headache. And so we talk about ways to detox the body with grace and ease, and so that, you're slow rolling out, right? And so the question becomes, what is it that's keeping you in your energy? What's really feeding your energy? And can you be sustainable like that? And do you want to be dependent? And where else are you dependent? So, the dieta shows you really what you're made out of and where you have to work. And, it's, like I say, it's a communication, and it becomes that ally, that's really quite lovely, the lessons and blessings. And we keep a journal about it all. And it's just really a special, special time. And it's also for you to really not only cleanse your energy and be present as you are coming into the medicine, clean and clear, so that you really can. I mean, it's challenging for spirits, plant spirits, any spirits, to come into this third dimension and be with us. So why not make it a little easier for them?
Exactly. Okay. So I think that and you're going to have to correct me. When we talk about eating pork and red meat, we're talking about we're ingesting that suffering. And so when we have that suffering in our body and we then sit in ceremony, You know, it's like we're trying to work on our pain and our, you know, healing, and then we're adding the suffering of the animals on top of that. Is that?
Very much so. I will not serve anyone who has ingested pork. End of story. The pigs know when they're going to slaughter. They have the closest emotional capacity to humans, and they are in full fear.
Mhm.
And so when you ingest pork, you are ingesting all those hormones of fear and the energy of fear. We already have enough fear going on, guys. You know, like really and truly, you know, we don't need to add any more to that. And so, and that is a very strict Shipibo rule on that. And I incorporate red meat because of that too. And also it's so hard to digest. And, you know, it stays with you for so long. And so, yeah, that is the
So,
reason behind it.
so
Absolutely.
right there, I guess, is more of enough of a reason. Like you sometimes watch videos of people going in and arriving, it's like, oh, I want to do this, and tonight we're sitting in ceremony, and I mean their experiences with the tea is pretty,
Gnarly.
yeah, because all that stuff that's in their system is coming up. There was no cleanse, there was no preparation, let alone that kind of sacred preparation, that dialogue, that relationship that you're entering into beforehand. There's none of that. And so I wanted to just kind of make sure that people understand, if they are basing their decision to ingest this medicine on video that they've seen maybe on YouTube of people arriving and saying, tonight I'm doing this ayahuasca, almost from this place of machismo and ego, like, oh, I'm gonna do this
Or
plant today.
or even an unawareness, right? This was one of the things, you know, like, and I know I shared my story last time of seeing how, you know, it was like this bastardized thing all through the Sacred Valley of, you know, sacred medicine tonight at 7, you know, sign up. And I'm thinking, no prep, no, you know what? But I will tell you, and this is funny because this was part of my dreams last night. And maybe it's because of this conversation. I remember going into camp for the first time with my mentor and a group of us meeting in Iquitos. And one of the guys, we were meeting at a restaurant, and one of the guys comes in and he's all disheveled and, you know, just got like literally off of his flight, and he orders, and he's, you know, he's running late, and he orders this great big huge cheeseburger. And I was like, what? How how can that even happen? You know, like where, what? You know, you get into camp, and the first thing that they do is they give you, you know, a sangre de grado or lemongrass purgative that's going to purge, you know, purge you all, you know, purge all that stuff out, you know. So, you know, make it easy on yourself. Don't, you know, do all of that. I've had, you know, as you can imagine, I've got stories, you know. I got stories on my stories.
So I want to return to,
People who try to fake it. Dang it. Don't try to fake it. I'm a tracker, y'all. I'm gonna track your ass. I know when you've, you know, gone off of your dieta. And if you have, let me know. I mean, you know, let your shaman know that, oh, I made a mistake.
Mhm,
Because
mhm.
there are ikros, there are songs that we can sing, and we can bring you back into right relationship, and we can do this, you know, we can get you back into shape. And maybe what's going to happen is that you'd have to have one of those purgatives, or maybe if the thing is so big, um I'm going to have to say no, or your shaman's going to have to say you need a few more days or whatever, or that we're going to go in on a third eye dose.
Okay, so that brings me to my next question, which is a different one from the previous one, which is fine.
Mhm.
So say I have decided to, let's keep it simple. I've decided to eat pork. And for some reason, I don't want to tell you. And number two, you don't track it. For some weird reason, you don't track it. I'm going into ceremony, let alone what the effect is on me. Is there going to be an effect on the people doing this ceremony with me?
Okay, first of all, let's take it even another step further and say it's not pork. Let's say you go out on a cocaine binge. Hell yeah. Because that's one of those things that are so contraindicated that you'll have a freaking heart attack. And you bet it's going to affect. Now, I had a situation where there was a woman, and salt. We'll talk a little bit about salt, why we let go of salt. And so, it's a retainer of energy. So if you have trauma, or what we would call demons or entities within you, and you decide that you're not going to let go of your salt, or it doesn't really matter, pinch here, pinch there, no big deal. It's a retainer of energy. Look at why you're doing that. Is that demon inside of you? Is that energy, that entity inside of you dictating your life and saying no? So if it's a retainer of energy, then it's going to be hell to try to get whatever it is out of you. And so, like I had that situation fairly recently, and I'm working my tail off in ceremony trying to, extract this demon. And every time, I think I got it, and tentacles and, are coming out and all kinds of things. It just goes right back in because the salt is holding it so tightly within the physical body.
Mhm.
And do you think that that affected everybody in the ceremony? You bet it does. It really does, because now you've got, Miss Salty Pants, meh, in ceremony, meh, and she can't feel the medicine, she can't feel the energy, and yada, 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 and so she's Miss Crabby Pants throughout the whole time, and da, 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 and it just makes it hard. Yeah. And as far as like your example of the pork, like you're bringing, okay, so we go back to the idea, guys, that everything is frequency. You're going to bring the frequency of fear in our ceremony, and everybody is affected by that. And
Mhm.
especially you're affected by that. You bet every single fear and every single thing that you have ever feared, and all of your darkest fears are going to show up, and that's going to make it kind of hard. Good.
All right, not doing that one. All right, so
And I do track it, by the way.
I know you do, but I thought just in
No,
case.
but in the same way, Mia, is that I did not track the salt person. In fact, she had been in ceremonies before and had come recommended, like somebody else recommended her, and she talked the talk and walked the walk, or not walk the walk, but you get it. And she had a really challenging ceremony. We were able to finally, clear it all out and get her squared away. But yeah, it's a big ordeal. There are reasons why we do this. The sugar, we let go of the sugar because it's an inflammatory, right? Sugar, it inflames the body. So if you're trying to purge, you're trying to let go of a bunch of things so that you can be clean and clear and move forward into your fifth dimension consciousness, and you spend your whole time trying to clear and you can't because of the inflammations and the salts and the things that you've ingested, then you're not going to get your miracle of the fifth dimension because you're spending all your time cleaning and clearing. That's okay.
Exactly.
That's what you need to do.
Exactly.
But gosh, make it easier on everybody, including yourself.
So I wanted to move on to the purging part, and
Oh, I love the purge. Let's talk about the purge.
no, I will be the first one to admit that having been, pregnant and having had children, that incredible nausea that comes with the first trimester was something that kept me, constantly sitting on the floor and just everything coming out, or just constantly. And I have basically made a deal with my body, and I said, I will give you one heave, one big heave, and then we are done. And I've trained my body that once I've heaved, then we're done. And then my brain says, okay, we're good now. And then I do not do that again. And so that comes in darn handy when you sit with a stomach flu and you just want to keep going and going. Because, like, the fact of the matter is, the first one brings almost everything up, maybe a second time. But then my body is trained to not constantly do that. And so clearly, during ceremony, I've gone once, and it's not because I don't want to anymore. My brain says, you've done it. We're done now. So there's clearly not, I want you to talk, number one, about why it's important. And number two, what other ways are there? And I just heard that yawning is another big one where we're kind of opening to downloads from our galactic ancestors.
Yeah. So, you guys, I know that a lot of people resist coming to ceremony because they don't want to purge. That was me. I had a situation in my very first ayahuasca ceremony with Alberto. And I'm laying there and my stomach is in a gnarly mess. And there's one bathroom in the Maloka, and it has a little slat door, right? Slat door where, like everything can be, emitted, smell, sound, And my teacher, Alberto, is sitting on his mat right next to the bathroom. And I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I'm like embarrassed. Oh my God, everybody's going to hear me. Oh my God, I'm going to be so embarrassed. All these different things, all these stories, right? And I was laying there for I don't even know how long, holding on literally to my shit. And I heard grandmother say, how long are you going to continue to hold on to your shit, girl? Literally, emotionally, physically, all that, and like, just get up and let it all go. And I finally found my way to the bathroom, and I realized, first of all, everybody's in their process. They don't care. Everybody's doing that. Secondly, like, what a relief it was to let it all go. And the connections that I could see, the worlds just opened up the moment that I was able to let go. And, we hold so much in our digestive system. This is our emotional stuff. This is our trauma. This is our childhood stuff. All of our old shit, guys, right there, right? So don't be afraid of the purge. Don't be intimidated by that. And the purge can come in a lot of different ways and is very cathartic. And it's a part of the process, it is a beautiful part of the process. It is a way for us to look at all the things that we've been storing inside that really no longer serve our highest good, and we can let it go. So yeah, it comes out. The purge can be in poop. Poop happens. It's awesome. You go, after you're done, you get up and you say, hey, see ya. Thank you for the lessons. Thank you for the blessings. See ya never. Flush the toilet. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. It's cathartic. Same with the throw up. Everybody's responsible for bringing a couple buckets, right? And we put a Pachamama hole. We dig a Pachamama hole outside so that all the purge goes in from your bucket into the Pachamama hole. And then we bring it to an honoring. And so, my whole feeling is that true healing comes from, first of all, we got to bring the awareness of what it is you're letting go of. And secondly, coming to that place of gratitude. Thank you for these lessons. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Forgiveness, gratitude. Man, so, at the end of ceremony, we're all covering the Pachamama hole, putting a little layer of dirt on it and thanking. And, I usually sing a little song, good where we've been, good where we're going, is a beautiful thing. But, Mia, that purge can come in a lot of ways. Like you say, the yawn, tears, tears of joy, tears of happiness, burps, air, just poof of airs, of letting go of what they would call the bad airs. It can be, let's see. Oh, I'm a big giggler. I'm a laugher, and that's a big one. Like I'm a big giggler in ceremony, and yeah, shits and giggles. That's me, and spit. Yeah.
I've never heard of that one. Okay.
Yeah. And laughing is a good one. And just as quick as it comes, as quick as it goes. And sometimes the whole room can just erupt into a big, laughter. And it's like, you don't even know why you're laughing, but one person starts it and it's like ripple effect around the whole room. And it's just such a beautiful emotional release. And so, yeah, though that yawning is really interesting. And I like to share that, let's think about it. We're trying to pull in more air, the ethers, breathing in. So where, to inspire, to expire, to inhale, to exhale, right? So I always like to look at it like we are breathing in spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times when we're yawning and yawning is that we are breathing in or creating space for the divine to come in, for your spirit guides to come in, for your galactic family to come in and help you to reorganize what's happening on the inside, energetically, physically, spiritually, on all levels. So, I think that is kind of cool to be aware of, just even in our daily, are we trying to breathe in more inspiration?
Oh.
Yeah. The other thing that I always like to bring up is shaking. And shaking can be, yeah, if we're like, I always feel like if we're going from side to side, that what we're doing is we're getting a realignment.
Now, you know that if you ever watched a drama play off on the savannah of Africa, and a gazelle gets chased by a lion or a leopard, and that for some reason that gazelle is lucky to escape. Once they've stopped and they realize they're safe, the first thing they do is shake themselves and they shake that trauma off.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's such a non-human thing to do. We kind of hold on to our trauma and we turn it into a story. And that story, we carry with.
Yeah, that is so true. And that's what I was going to say. The other, one can be a realignment. And I always see that as kind of going from side to side shaking, but there is another kind of shaking where, you want to shake it off, but you maybe are in resistance. And so your body has tensed up and you've just come into that whole shaking space. And so, I always encourage, get your butterfly wings out, move that body, loosen up, see what you're holding, what you're really holding on to. Why aren't you letting it go? What is it that's really that you're resistant to letting go? And can you open up a little bit more to let it all go? Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Pretty
Beautiful.
cool, huh?
Yeah. So here's the next thing. We never see anybody doing ceremony at noon.
Oh, that's not true. They have day ceremonies.
Really?
It's not traditional Shipibo, but some people do. But wait, before we move on to day night and all that, one thing that I want to also talk about a little bit in the purge is how the
Okay.
ego can come in. Ha ha, I went through ceremony and I didn't purge and I have, I'm, I don't have any shit, right? We all got shit,
I mean, I
y'all.
don't have any. I have none of that.
All all of us, we got that stuff. So don't resist and don't let your ego get the best of you. And anytime I hear that kind of a story of like, oh, I didn't have a purge or whatever, um I always go, oh boy, tomorrow night's going to be a biggie, or next one is going to be a biggie for you, so don't feel like like, don't, in other words, don't let your ego get the best of you. It is, like I say, it's cathartic, and if you can be that person that is sitting on the toilet and puking at the same time, woo, wait, that's a beautiful thing. I love that. Yeah. And then the other piece of it is like the room, everybody in the room is having the gag reflex and bleh, 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 and everybody's going around. And then there's the one person that's not puking, but yet they've cried and cried and cried, and they're feeling like they maybe are doing something wrong because they're not puking. It's like, no, you're getting your purge the way that you need to. And so if you crying or sweating is another one, another really big one, where we just break out into a sweat. And so however way it comes is perfect for you. It's don't compare yourself to what's happening for anybody else. Yeah. And it's a process, and it's a beautiful process. And generally after that purge, think about it. When you've been able to really cleanse your body, guess what's available? A whole lot of space for the upgrades, for the uploads, for the, as we're working in the All Love Gathering, is, to connect yourself with those higher frequencies. So, all right.
Hmm.
So, what was your question about daytime?
So I remember that night when we did ceremony and we couldn't turn off the outside lights.
Oh, it's hard to see the Icaros, and we get so sensitive, right?
So that's what I want you to talk about.
The sensitivities. So,
Why we do ceremony in the dark so often.
okay. Well, the first thing is it's grandmother. It's feminine. Feminine energy is connected to the moon, and the moon, is obviously more prevalent energy is at night. And we have, if you guys understand ritual and ceremony, we do these typically at night because it's less dense at night. So think about all the activity that happens during the day, the lights, the energy, the frequencies that are happening just in general during the day. It makes it challenging for the spirits to come through and get in during the daytime when the frequencies are just, big, 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 big. So if we do the ceremony and ritual in the evening, it's less dense and it's easier for these spirits to come in and be available. And then there's the whole other piece of journeying. So, just out of respect for the spirits to be able to come in during the nighttime. But then there is the whole visionary piece. So there are people that do ceremonies one during the day. And although I have not done that, I feel like if we are opening up to visions, we want it dark. And the more light there is, it's hard to see. It's hard to see what's going on. It's hard for me personally to see your energy lines if there's light on, so the darker, the better. And, I always offer, we have a bandana, and I always offer a blindfold if it doesn't feel like it's dark enough, so that you can really be in that. It's inside, it's all inside. All of the answers are always within yourself, and so yeah, we typically do the ceremonies in the daytime, in the nighttime, because the visionary is so profound to be able to see that. And we're seeing the kenes, we're seeing what, the kenes are the sacred geometry patterns that you can follow and dive into, and really enjoy. Does that make sense?
Yes, no, that sounds wonderful. I wanted you to explain that, but now I'm asking a question that I just heard it. It's like anybody who feels like they've been raised in a Christian way, and now you're talking about the spirits come in. Like, you're gonna have to do a bit of clarifying there.
Okay, so I'm just going to speak to you guys. I just came out of ceremony. We finished up our ceremony on Monday, and in our ceremony this last weekend, JC was in the house. Christ full embodied right there for one of my guys. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Only thing we could do was get down on our knees and just like, wow, okay, I don't think that I wasn't raised Christian, so I don't have a lot of experience other than what I see, the conditioning of the conditioning. And I don't see any reason why Christians would have an issue with this. It's the Holy Spirit, it's God in all of her divineness coming in to help us, to let go. The plant spirits themselves, show up. This is the way that God has created these beautiful plants for us to ingest, to be able to lift the load and expand our consciousness and live in our heart space. Grateful for this. So I think that you have to make it congruent for you and what your spiritual belief is. I know that all kinds of spirits come in ceremonies. We had Galactic Family come in this past weekend, so, here was the case scenario. In working with a client who says, Star, I need some help. Can you come over and help me? Sure. What's going on? I don't know. The spirit showed up and it didn't feel right. It didn't feel good. And I always instruct everybody, if anything shows up for you, you always ask. And I don't care if it looks beautiful or ugly or what, who are you and who do you work for? Who are you and who do you work for? And if you hear, oh, I'm working with God, I work with love and light, I'm here to help you, then great. Let's sit down and have a chat. What's going on? If you hear, you have to follow me and you have to do this and that, and coming from this egoic self, this is not a benevolent spirit. And you have the right to say, bing, 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 out you go, and cancel, clear, delete. I'm not gonna engage with you. So he had done this. This person in ceremony had seen these kind of funky energies that didn't feel right. Who are you? Who do you work for? Couldn't get a response, asked 3 times and said, well, then I'm not going to work with you. And they got right up in his face and he felt like he breathed in something and something was happening inside of him, a darker energy. So he called and he, called on me and said, I think I need a little help. And extracted it for sure. Extracted it right out the top of his head, clean, clear. So now I have this energy and I'm transmuting the energy and asking for angelic help. And, Archangel Michael, please come and shift this energy, transmute this energy. Calling on Michael, and all of a sudden this big green, beautiful, glowing Archangel Raphael comes in, It's like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Are you coming to get this energy? And took the energy, transmuted just whoop, just as fast. And right behind was this golden energy, and in was Christ. And yeah, Jesus Christ coming in. And so, yeah, beautiful, absolutely beautiful, beautiful. You call on the posse and they show up. So I don't think it matters too much what your spiritual belief is. I've had people of all faiths sitting in ceremony. I think that it doesn't really matter because spirit is spirit. And the posse, whatever it is that you are working with, is going to show up for you in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I can't really think of any. So, all right. So let's talk a little bit about vibration. So clearly, you want to have the highest vibration possible in there, so that you are inviting the highest vibrational spirits to work with you. So you basically create this container of, what did you use them? Pure bliss love. How do you create that vibration in your healing session, in your medicine session?
Well, first of all, we know that we have to clear out, right? And attune ourselves to embody that pure bliss love. What is that frequency? So when we're talking about fifth dimension, I happen to believe and see and feel that that is not some place that we are going to go like the rapture, right? We're not going to, be lifted out of this 3D consciousness and, disappear off of this earth. My feeling is that our job right now, and people who are showing up and feeling the call to this medicine know that they are being called to a higher consciousness, and that their mission is to anchor this into this 3D consciousness. And so we are here living in this world on Gaia, and we really, really, really need to bring this fifth dimensional consciousness here and anchor it into this time, this place on this earth. And so it feels like what has to happen is that you drop into that heart space, out of the egoic space, come home to the heart. And it feels like, we take that elevator up into that fifth dimension consciousness, which is generosity, compassion, love, these higher vibrations of feeling that in your heart and anchoring that into your body. When we can be in that place of forgiving and no longer holding on, blame and shame and guilt, which are just so low vibrations, then we have the opportunity to rise up through that heart space. And in ceremony, there's a lot of work around that. It's not just, oh, I'm going to drink the medicine and I'm going to become that. There's a lot of work around that. I mean, we do guided meditations. We do, a lot of inner child work the first night in the All Love gathering. We're doing inner child work of time traveling, going back, meeting your inner child, loving. Ooh, tea time. Spilling the tea.
It's getting cold.
I got my green juice today here promoting Suja. Suja. Mighty dozen. That's my shaman's tea today. Green, green, green. So yeah, I feel like frequency is really a consciousness and understanding that when we come back to the present moment, when we come back here, then we know we have a choice, right? We can choose to live in our heart, take that elevator up to these higher consciousness. And I have a friend who we had this discussion before I left San Diego, and it was so cute. We were talking about this, and he said, there really is no free will. There really isn't a choice, though, is there? And I said, oh, I, I think yes, we always have, we always have a choice, that's the beauty of this human experience. And he said, yes, but if you know, then there really is no choice, is there? It's always going to be pure bliss love that you're going to choose. There's nothing else. Why would you choose anything else?
Yeah.
So there really is no choice. You're just going to do that, And I was like, okay, you're right. Yeah, I get it. Okay, you're right. But we need that little stepping stone to say, yeah, we do have that choice. But it has to come back to really working to be in the present moment and really saying, yes, I'm going to choose my heart and I'm going to look through the eyes of love. I am going to be in that place of pure bliss love. And it doesn't mean that, oh, I'm not going to be angry, or I'm not going to be sad, or I'm not going to be, feeling, whatever it is that shows up for you, is that you can look at your sadness through the eyes of love, that you can look through your anger through the eyes of love, that you can be conscious about it, that you can say, oh yeah, that really pisses me off, but I'm going to stay in my center. I am not going to be thrown off by the chaos around me. I'm going to stay true to my heart. And I'm going to look at my anger or my joy or my sadness or whatever is up for us with that place of compassion and consciousness.
Yeah. It's interesting because I've been pondering a lot of, I was doing healing work with a person who was going through a very hard time, and I managed to get her out of that. And then she moved into the next phase, and I thought, well, let's see what we can do here. And it's just like, it's weird. It's like I'm doing work, but it doesn't have any effect. And the only stuff that has an effect is the stuff that I'm telling her to do herself. And the image that came to me is almost like I am doing surgery in the gutter, and I'm expecting there to be no infection. Unless she's willing to climb out of that gutter and enter a place of love, compassion, kindness, that the work is not going to stick. It's not going to
walk the talk, baby. That's the whole point in the big, beautiful blessings of integration. Climb out of the gutter. You climb out, and that's a great analogy, the all love gathering and the ceremonies, offer you the opportunity to rise up out of the gutter, rise up out of your old stinking thinking, see things from a different perspective. But you have to be willing to walk that talk when you leave. You have to be willing to consciously make choices that keep you in that, in that rise, in that beauty, in that space. You have to be willing to, and integration is a huge process. I feel like it's equally and even more so important than anything else. If you're going to do ceremony, you have to do that integration. And part of my scan, my intake form and my process to see if it's the right thing for you to sit in ceremony is I'm looking at that. I'm looking for those peak hoppers, right? Oh, I just want that. I want that. I want that again, you know. But have you done your integration work?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Have you done that part to really make sure it's all come home? And have you really walked the talk? And, or are you just looking for these, woohoo experiences, so I do look for that, and I have ways to help you through that, and the integration part is key, so much so that we do one-on-one consultations after you leave. I always say we ride that pink cloud for a couple of weeks after ceremony, where everything is wonderful, yahoo! And then about 2 weeks, your old patterns can start sneaking on in. And so we do a one-on-one integration, where I can start steering you back in, remember what your intention was, remember those things. And before you even leave, there's a list of, integration tools that really help you in your process and things like that. So um, yeah, we go, remember your list, remember those things that you said. And in the all love gathering is like, you get to marry yourself. Our very, very, very final thing that we do is you write up your wedding vows of what you really do promise that, you're going to do and commit to yourself. And we do a huge wedding. It's a beautiful wedding ceremony. And you write it down. You get a little coloring book and crayons because we're doing so much inner child work, So it's, right, it's art therapy all throughout the whole thing, which is always so beautiful, that supports the integration process as we go. So, we're in ceremony at night and we're integrating, whether it's medicine dance or a sound journey or art therapy. There's just so much to support um, vapor baths, all of these different things that support your integration as we are going along. And then I feel it's super important. All of those things are hands-on. It's the experience, right? You can learn about it. I can tell you about it, but until you actually experience it, it's not going to take on a cellular level. So, offering so many different kinds of tangible experiences, and you learn how to make a vapor bath, you learn how to make a love bath, so that, when you're home and integrating, that you can utilize these tools, that you have your coloring book, that you can continue to still do your art therapy, that you have, the shaman's baths and the recipes and all of these different things. So there's a lot of different, tools and support, that is necessary in your integration process. That is one of the hardest things that I have heard and seen in people who have come to sit in ceremonies with me and say that this has been their challenge in the past, is that they've left Peru, they've left their ceremony, and they're free falling. And they don't have that beautiful support system of like, oh, okay, I'm free falling. How do I put Humpty Dumpty back together again?
Yeah.
So, I feel like that is really important. So much so that I offer, and these are all free, guys, integration on Zoom once a month. Pop in, how you doing? So no matter when you've sat in ceremony, rather you've sat with me or you've sat with, whoever, it doesn't really matter. You are always welcome in an integration Zoom talk that I hold once a month, because I feel like they're so important. And some of the things that, we are working on and we don't even know it. This is a very interesting thing. Things that we purge may be ancestral. Some of the things that you're purging, you have received in your DNA, right? We know that if diabetes is, something, or all of these diseases in the body are coming from the DNA markers, we know through epigenetics, so is the emotions.
Yeah.
And so, think of it like this: what when your mother was in utero, in your grandmother, whatever your grandmother was going through, it is not only imprinted on the embryonic fluid that is around you, but comes into an imprinted epigenetics being around the genetic coding. So it's like a fingerprint, boop, right? And it's fingerprinted onto you. So you may be carrying stuff that's not even yours, that was your grandmother's, that was your grandfather's, that what, you know what I mean? So you have this purge. You go, what the heck was that? Holy moly. And it's, we always know when it's the ancestral purge, because it's hard. It's hard to get it up and out, and it sits there gnarly, and you're trying to make sense of what the hell is this? And we just don't even know. So you can imagine clearing all that out, and then 2 weeks after ceremony your body is feeling a loss. What was that I let go of? Your energy body is going, something's missing. What was that? All this stuff has been with me my entire life, and I didn't even know what it was, and now you can't even put your finger on it, that something is missing. So I always like to check in, and I like to have this integration talk, because I feel like it's really important to say, to do this reminder that this can be a time where those sneaky little codependent addiction patterns can start sneaking back in, because and that feeling of longing for something that you're missing deep inside.
Mhm.
You don't even know what it is, but I want to reach outside for myself to fill it up. Let me have that glass of wine. Let me have that little extra chocolate. Let me have, just something that's going to fill me up, because I feel a sense of something is missing within myself. So it's a reminder. And there's some really great tools, that we can set you up with, so that, you can bring your ancestors to an honoring, we can bring that all to a sacred sacred space, and an honoring, and the awareness again. It's important to have the awareness, right?
Well, I have to add there that for me, I have also had the experience that a week or two later, I remember standing in the kitchen and suddenly feeling, oh my goodness, I can spend time with my children and not feel in pain and tortured.
Hmm.
Like my parents never enjoyed spending time with me. So that was that ancestral, like, constantly almost like an irritation being around them. And then my kids came around, and I'm not saying that, it was always hard around them, but I'm suddenly like, oh my goodness, I don't have the need to run away. I'm actually enjoying their company. So there's that beautiful positive, like, oh my goodness, I feel this change. This is a big shift for me. Oh, this is a gift. This is such a massive gift.
And
you know
that's generally what happens with people. I'm just kind of almost sharing the worst case scenarios, and how, like, you really want to set yourself up for a positive experience from the beginning of the dieta, the moment that you open up your dieta, to, your whole integration process. And that's generally what happens, is that we come away with like this, whoa, so this is what a joyous life is. Wow. Like, it's so good to be complete and be done with this freaking trauma that I have carried around, and that's the real deal, Mia, is that's generally what happens. And that's why we're called to the medicine. And that's the beauty, of being able to see this incredible transformation. It's like so humbling and so beautiful to be able to witness that, from my perspective. And which is why I continue to hold the medicine for people, because it's a big commitment. It's a lot of work. It's a, you know
Yeah, I remember the story of the body, the graves of ayahuasqueras in the jungle are considered sacred spaces, and that their bones turn purple from all the ayahuasca that they have taken over the years. And
I got some purple bones, y'all. That's
right.
what.
So the question then is like, we'll see, we'll post this and see what questions people still have. And if people still have questions next week, maybe we'll do a take 3.
Beautiful.
But
Yes, 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 yes. And I would also like to encourage you, if you have taken this medicine, share your stories. I want to know, like, how was your experience? And yeah, I love to hear the stories, and I think that's a beautiful thing.
oh,
Yeah. Thanks, guys. That was our purge question was the biggest questions that we got from last weekend is, we'll talk about the purge. Will you talk about the purge? And so we just really wanted to honor you guys and your big questions about purge. And I hope that helps to explain, some of it. I know, that was a very broad brush, but yeah, dieta is big. Dieta is a really big thing, and I'm happy to really. I love the dieta. It's always so funny. People get all like concerned whether they're going to be able to do it or not, and then we go into that opening circle, and everybody like, how's your dieta going, and how you feeling, and it's always like this. It's the best thing ever. I'm never coming off a dieta, like. Except maybe the whole sex thing.
yeah, I've heard people struggle with
Mhm.
that. All right. Well, oh, and
Yeah, I love you so much.
I love you too. And I just wanted to say that our power animals also tend to show up. Remember, there was a big wolf standing in front of my mat, and you were like, "Is that your power animal? Is that your power animal?" I'm like, nope. And it was the person next to me,
Oh
and
yeah,
he, with and he stood in front of my mat. And anyway,
oh
it's
yeah. Oh, absolutely. And you guys, the by the way, the screen drop that I have behind me, this is Anderson Debonelli's work, and this is Ayahuasca Visions. So yeah, you see that big anaconda coming in behind my head. Um, Typically that is, indicative of, grandmother medicine. And yeah, so power animals do come in, and boy, we can spend a whole story talking about that. We can spend a whole time talking about our spirit animal guides. And oh boy, I got a bunch, and they do come in and they help me. And I have tree spirit guides, Noyarao, because of the dietas that I've done with the master plants. They all come in, and yeah, so we can we could we could talk a lot about that too.
all right. So maybe next time we'll talk about Chorichaki.
Charichaki, Bobansana, Noyarao. We can talk about all of the beautiful, beautiful master plant teachers. Yeah, for sure.
And there's one that you use for removing entities.
Ayoma, 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 ayoma. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's the beauty. I really look forward to maybe, learning dieta with these plants and not needing a crystal anymore every time I need to pull out yeah, I don't even want to name it.
Entity, demon. Well, and we can talk about that, the differences between those energies and what they are, and how we, deal with that. But yeah, Shipibo language is demon. I
Okay.
was like, oh yeah, pooey pooey demons, whatever. Nope, demons.
Right then.
Yeah. All right,
Cool.
you guys, have a beautiful week. Happy new moon. Did you set your intentions? Don't forget, set your intentions tonight. Maybe even blow them into some beautiful water, put them out in the new moon and drink it up in the morning.
What are
Mhm.
your plans with them?
Water your plants with them. Sing to the water spirits. Yay. So much love. Thank you, Mia. I love you.
I love you too, Star. And have a wonderful weekend of
Thank
ceremony.
you. Back in ceremony. It's a private ceremony I'm excited for today, this weekend. Yeah, super, super blessed. Wow, super blessed.
I can't wait.
I know. So you guys, if you're called, reach out because we got some dates coming up. Mia and I are actually hosting together. Want to sit in that one? Reach out. But there's lots all over the place. So love you. Hope to see you in ceremony. Hear the call. If you hear the call, we're here for you. Love you.
Bye.
Bye. Great week.